Welcome back, everybody, to the continuation of our recap of Pyanodons on Twitch. So, we've been quite busy this stream. It was a very productive stream. And also, again, it seems a very dark stream because it seems there's a whole bunch of lamps missing again. Let me just get some copper and some iron plate. And maybe let's literally highlight the things we've done today by placing down some lamps. Let's maybe start right over here in this corner. This is a preparation for the future. Over here, we are making foggies. And the foggy farm over here is pretty much doing the thing that we need to do. We're making a whole bunch of foggies over here so that we can make one big foggy farm. And foggies over here are required for us to make basically all kinds of food. They're part in most food production, and there's also part in manure production later on. And they're also part, you can also turn them into raw coal, which is pretty darn good. But if we want to make a foggy farm, we do need to make a lot of foggies because we need 20 foggies per foggy farm over here to make this thing a thing. Now, making foggies themselves is quite easy. You just get the spores from the air, you get it for free, and you put them in the farm, and then you make the foggies out of that. Now, we do get better recipes later on. Currently, I think we only have got one foggy recipe unlocked. Where are they? There we go. Let's have a look at this one real quick. Yeah, we only have one recipe, and we can turn 10 foggies into 3 raw coal, which is also pretty neat, actually, if you think about it. It gives you more or less an infinite amount of raw coal if we would need so. Now, we do get better recipes later on, and also better foggies. And, of course, if you cover them in poop and you put some fungal substrate in there, it will already be more efficient. We can also get other spores later on, but for now, we mainly want to look at foggy usage. There is also one recipe. Is it in here somewhere? I'm actually not quite sure. There's one recipe for the foggies later on, which is pretty good. You can turn them together with some relicias into straight up aromatics, which is a pretty darn good recipe. Good, that was one of the things we did. Let's go more over here. You might already see the most important preparation building over here ever, which is, of course, the almighty Auog. Auog production is going to be very important in the future, and let me just, again, put some lamps around it because it's dark as fuck. Auog production is going to be the first creature that we're going to make that will make us a metric ton of poop. And we do need a metric ton of poop because we need to make batteries, and we're still researching the batteries. But for the batteries, we need some melamine. We also need some cyanic acid, I just noticed. I didn't even see that before. And melamine is made out of cyanic acid and ammonia. Cyanic acid and ammonia we can get out of urea. And urea is made out of liquid manure. And, well, liquid manure, that comes from these adorable creatures. Look at them. I really like the sprites on these ones. This is a real nice sprite. I really enjoy this one. And there is a very cheap and easy recipe to make more Augs. You just need some native flora and some moss, and you basically... This has not really been running very long. This was the last thing we did, more or less, on stream. And we are already backing up over here on Augs. There's 29 Augs in here, and there's another 15 there. So we are doing pretty darn good for the Augs over here. Also, once you fully staff this building over here, it does have a crafting speed of 2 at the end, which is pretty impressive. That will make it even faster. Now, we do kind of want to go down the way over here of making the Auog food, and for that we still need the relicias. Also, if we want to make the rock food, that's where we need the foggies for. And we do want to make the rock food. You do want to do the food recipes because the food recipes do open up the better recipes for each creature. One of them, where is it even? That's over here. One of them is, for example, also the rock breeding program, where we can get the Mark II creature. Now, this over here, you should set this up as soon as possible, because this one over here is going to take some time. It's probably going to be sitting around spinning a couple of cycles because you only have a 0.5% chance to get a Rock Mark II. And I think you need at least one, maybe a couple more. Yeah, you need at least 2. You need at least 2 of them to start up the Rock breeding cycle. And let's hope you're not unlucky and you lose them all in the first cycle, because that would be very unlucky. Maybe do a save and reload if that happens. But upgrading your creatures to the next tier is definitely something that helps out in speeding up the production of these paddocks over there. Good. The paddocks down here, by the way, we've not changed anything. The only thing we did down here is we put down a chest over here because we needed some eggs. And we needed those eggs because we needed to make dogs. let's maybe have a look at how we made those Augs. We have a bit of a change over here in the middle of our, actually on top of our mall. We made a bit of a mad scientist laboratory over here. This is the place where we more or less make the first initial creature or the first initial plant. For example, this is also the place where we made the first initial foggy. You can't just make foggies out of nowhere. You have to make at least the first one yourself. And for that, you need the foggy codex and some mushroom DNA, as well as some spores, some steam, some ground samples, and some wood. You can get all of the DNA samples over here from the data array. It's more or less just put some science packs in, put some biosamples in, and you get the thing that you want. I mean, we can already do things like mushroom DNA, generic earth DNA, flower DNA, which we actually do need to do if we want to do the Relicias, and over here, of course, the bear DNA, which we need to make the first Auog. And then, of course, over here in the creature chamber, we put in the Auog codex, the bear DNA, the generic earth DNA samples, the biosamples, and some cDNA to make the first Auog. Now, you need to make 3 Augs to get the breeding cycle going. 2 for the recipe and 1 for the building, so that the building even starts up. And of course, we would need some cDNA for that. Now, cDNA is going to be your first pharmaceutical that you're going to have to use, and you're going to have to use this a lot in the future. We don't really need to automate it just yet, because we only need it every now and then. But making cDNA, you can already see over here, is really not that simple. We need glassware, we need laboratory instruments, we need basic substrate, incubated petri dishes, biosamples, moss gene samples, plasmids, and retrovirus. Now, glassware, basic substrate, incubated petri dishes, those are all parts of the first PyScience pack, so you should already have those. Biosamples is pretty easy to do. That's more or less just putting those flowers we see on the belt over there and put them like in a tube. Same for the moss gene samples. The moss gene samples is basically take some moss, put that in the tube. But the plasmids and the retrovirus and the laboratory equipment did take some additional work. Now for the retrovirus over here, that's pretty straightforward. You just take some resources you already have available, with the exception for laboratory instruments, and put them together, and you just make the retrovirus. As for the plasmids, pretty much the same thing. Again, laboratory instrument being the main thing over here that we need to make, and some Zogna bacteria. And Zogna bacteria over here, that's just wood, lamps, petri dishes, and some pressurized air. Zogna bacteria in the future, you're gonna use a lot of this stuff. For now, just having like this sitting over here, just hand feeding every now and then will be fine. But at some point in time, you do want to make yourself a designated Zogna bacteria making machine, but that's for later, not for now. And then, of course, you put it all together, and you can make your Auog over here. We probably should also put some lamps around here. There we go. You get a lamp, you get a lamp, and you get a lamp. There we go. Now we can see. Perfect, 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 perfect. And all of all, this is a lovely, lovely process. Now, during the stream, at some point in time, we actually ran out of copper. Let's have a look over here. We used to have a copper mine sitting right over here, and well, it's gone. We used it up. And that basically gave us the opportunity to revise our copper processing. Now, where did we put that? We put it all the way over here in the top left corner. I mean, every ore out there has some kind of refinery process. And of course, it's very important that you do use that refinery process for your ores, because you get more plates out of your ores. Currently, with the basic recipe of making copper plate, we will need 8 copper to make 1 plate of ore. No, we need 8 copper ore to make 1 plate of copper. There we go. That's how you put it. And with the refining process, we can push that down to use 5 ore to make 1 plate. And also, in addition to that, we get some stone, which is very much useful, because stone is a thing you're definitely going to need quite a bit. And also, yes, we did expand the rail track over here a bit. And I knew it. We have not even put a single lamp over here. So good thing we're coming over here so that we can place down some lamps. There we go. And the copper refining process is also pretty straightforward. On top over here, we've got these automated screeners. And the automated screeners over here, the thing that they do is to take in the copper ore and they turn it into copper grade 1 and copper grade 2. We get 1 copper grade 1 and we get 2 copper grade 2. 9 of these can feed on a full copper belt over here. And the only thing we have to do after that is make sure that we only have 1 of these 2 at the end. The copper grade 2, I think, the grade 1. No, the copper grade 1, we can then crush over here, further refine into copper grade 2. So we halve it down again and we get some stone out of it. If we take a look at this over here, we've got 9 of these machines, which means we do this recipe 9 times every 3 seconds or 3 times per second, which also shows us that we need that we consume 15 copper per second. And that will also mean we make about 6 copper grade 2 and 3 copper grade 1 per second. Yes, that's correct. And the 6 copper grade 2 and the 1 copper grade 1. Yes, and then... Sorry, 6 copper grade 2 and 3 copper grade 1, yeah. And the 3 copper grade 1 per second, we then halve down into 1.5 copper grade 2 per second, which means we make a total of 7.5 copper grade 2 per second. And that all goes down over here into these furnaces. Each one of these over here smelts the copper plate over here at a rate of 5 copper every 2 seconds, or 2.5 copper grade 2 copper per second. 3 of these is the exact amount that we need to fully consume everything, which means this one is perfectly balanced, just as things should be, as people like to say. Perfect. And that is our new copper processing. We also made a new copper mine over there. We got a bit of a copper patch over there. We had to dig out some trees. Fucking trees. Good. Then, most important, and that's the thing we're going to be using a lot in the future, is going to be the laboratory equipment. We can find it over here. Laboratory equipment is made out of an equipment case, optical sets, rubber, and small parts. Now, the equipment cases themselves, those are pretty easy to make. That's just iron, Nexolite, antimony special alloy, as well as some simple circuit boards and some tin plate. That is pretty straightforward to do. However, the optical sets and the rubber were 2 things we were still missing. Now, obviously, we make rubber because I got some rubber in my inventory, and we are also making optical sets because, well, we're making the most important part for that over here. If we take a look at the optical set recipe, which is, there it is, craft. Optical sets are made out of molten glass and boron trioxide, and making the boron trioxide is the hard part. There's the second recipe over here. That's basically the same recipe with hot air. And hot air gives you a free optical set, and making hot air is quite easy. So whenever you have the option to use a hot air recipe, definitely use the hot air recipe. Good, but we need to make the boron trioxide, and the boron trioxide is exactly what we're doing over here. Again, you could build this build to scale and make a massive build out of this, but for now, just make a bit of boron trioxide. As you can see, it will back up probably quite just right away. And we don't really need that much boron trioxide at the moment. And boron trioxide is made out of, well, let's maybe go over here. Boron trioxide, we need some boric acid and some coke, and we can turn that into boron trioxide. Then, the boric acid, we make that out of deborane, and we just add water. 100 deborane makes 500 boric acid. If you ever think about making a build or a train build where you need boric acid, don't put boric acid on a train. Put the deborane on a train and add the water on site. That will give you a nice, dense shipment. As for the deborane, that's also pretty straightforward. The deborane is just cooking up borax over here with some hydrogen. And hydrogen we can, of course, get from an electrolyzer over here by just cooking up some water. So it's more or less a pretty water-heavy recipe with a bit of borax on top. Now, keep in mind, you do need 3 electrolyzers for this, and electrolyzers each cost us 10 megawatts of power. So they do have a significant power footprint. They're actually at the top of our list with 5 buildings in total, outgunning the miners over here and the high-pressure furnaces. Good. But that is deborane production, and that's a pretty easy thing to do. As for the rubber is actually also not too hard to do. Hello there, Mr. Train. Goodbye, Mr. Train. We also added a whole bunch of names over here. There we go. The rubber production is right over here. Let's have a look at that. So, rubber. Let's maybe start over here. To make rubber, we're going to need some latex. We know how to make latex. We basically just split off the latex from our latex production over here. We just added the splitter. Half of it goes up to science, the other half goes down over here to where we need it for rubber. And we need to make some carbon black as well as some polybutadiene. Now, carbon black, also pretty straightforward to make because we need some anthracene oil and some vacuum. Now, the anthracene oil, you probably have already seen it. That's one of the big products we do over here at the tar processing center. We used to burn it off over here for more steam. But currently, we only burn it off for steam over here if we back up onto it, which we are now doing again. So, yes, we're using it for steam over there again. But to accommodate the steam production over here, we did kind of decide to start burning off more of our creosote boards over here. And we should probably put a buffer in there somewhere where we maybe buffer a little bit more creosote boards, because we don't really want every board over here to be burnt. But this gives us a decent creosote consumption. We can also see that over here. This one over here was at about 750,000 at some point in time. We're now sitting at 150,000. And the machine over here is still working like a charm. We're backing up on coke even, which is kind of interesting. Not quite sure what kind of implication that has yet, because coke is a thing. Well, I think it will be fine. It might snuff out this machine over here. I will have to take a look at that. And this machine over here is kind of important because it makes coke oven gas, and we use the coke oven gas to make the glass. So everything is somewhat connected, which is of course a little bit annoying. Then we also need to make the polybutadiene. And polybutadiene is made out of titanium plate, aromatics, and some water. We do need to put in 1,000 water, and we do get 1,000 steam back. Now, technically, you can use that steam for power. Practically, it's probably not what you want to do, but there is a little issue, and we can see it over here. At some point in time, and it's actually not too far away, you get these magnificent cooling towers. And the cooling towers over here allow us to cool back down any kind of steam back into water. And that's probably exactly what we need to do over here. It would probably be more good. It would probably be better, but more good is good. To take the steam over here and just to cycle it back into water and have a closed water loop over here. Currently, we are just venting the steam over here because we really do not want to use it for power. If we would use it for power, we would have the issue that, how to put it? It's hard to balance that output on power because we've got so many machines out here, or so many steam engines over here that all run at the same pace. So it could just back up on itself, and then we would have to vent it. We could make an optional output, true, that's very true. But for now, since I do want to consider this a closed water loop at some point in time, we're just venting it, and then we don't have the issue anymore. And that is where we get our rubber from. Now, the laboratory equipment over here, we've just pocket crafted it. Because, well, I didn't really see the need to make a machine yet. Especially, well, where do we place it? We could place it somewhere. We don't really need laboratory equipment that often yet. As soon as we really need a large amount of it, that's when we're going to make an automated machine out of it. But not right now. Not right now. Good, but that's not all we did. We were actually very, very busy this stream. It's actually amazing how much we got done. One thing that I kind of noticed, especially over here, was that coal gas over here was backing up all the time because, well, as you can see over here, the aluminum belt over here is not really doing anything. And coal gas is mainly used for the aluminum mining, which means we kind of put an optional output over here into one of these magnificent oil burners to just burn off coal gas once we reach over 80% capacity over here and just turn it into power. I always like just using any kind of gas we make as a byproduct and turn it into power, because that's something you can always do. You will always need power. I really dislike the idea of having something that we just void, because voiding it means you don't really get any use out of it at all. But if you somehow manage to use it for power, then I just go like, yeah, sure, let's do that. Let's just do that. Also, let me just clean this up real quick because we really don't need this anymore. Same for this belt. This belt can also go. And there we go. That makes that a little bit cleaner. Good. We added a couple more of these gas overflow outputs, especially over here, because we had the exact same issue over here. We are backing up over here on gasoline. We're backing up over here on kerosene. And we need to push that stuff somewhere. And for now, we've got an overflow valve over here and an overflow valve over there, which just pushes out everything over 80% over here into an oil burner, where we just turn it to power. And, well, yeah, power. Just power. And it's pretty useful. This keeps this machine over here going all the time. But I think currently we have the issue that we're not using up enough stone. So, there's always something in this game. Always something. We might need to figure out a better usage for stone. I will figure out something in the future. For now, it's not that important. Stone is stone. Good. Let's see. Did we do anything else that's important? We didn't do anything over here. We didn't do anything over there. Over there, this is all done. We didn't switch out anything over here. This is all also perfectly fine. And I think there's only one more thing that we did. And that is all the way over here. At some point in time, we kind of noticed that we were running out of tin plate. And we still have a bit of an issue over here. That's the thing we're going to be fixing in tomorrow's stream. But we did reset up the tin mine over here. Switched everything up over here to Fluid Drills Mark II. And we also added the tin processing line over here. And the tin processing line, you might think like, wait a minute, have I not seen this just now? Yeah, the tin processing line is very similar to the copper processing line. The ratio is a little bit different. Over here, it's a 9 to 4.5 actually. And over here, it is a, where's the thing? Over there. It's a 9 to 6 in this case. So the ratios are not always identical. They're similar, but not always identical. And also over here, we do use steel furnaces instead of electric furnaces. The main reason we use a steel furnace over here is if we would use electric furnaces over here, we would need 4 times the amount of electric furnaces. So we would need 16 electric furnaces. And I thought to myself, you know what? Just use 4 steel furnaces. They have a crafting speed of 4. Then we'll get this thing done fast enough. It should be fine. It should be fine. But the whole process over here is more or less the same. We put in tin ore at the top. We get tin ore grade 1 and tin ore grade 2. Though with the main difference over here, instead of going to grade 2, we crush grade 2 over here into grade 1. And all of the grade 1 over here goes into the smelter where it's going to be smolten down into tin plate. And since then, we have a bit of tin plate going around. At least more. Where's it going? Where's it going? It's going all the way over here. And it's slowly backing up. We basically used the tin ore belt that we used to have from all the way over here. And we just bypassed the smelter over here entirely and just push it onto the middle belt. And now tin is backing up again, which is great because we are going to need an absolute metric ton of tin in the future. Good, 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 good. I think that's everything covered for now. Excellent. Now, tomorrow will be the next Pyanodons streams. Actually, today, if you're watching this on YouTube, so do get your bum over here to twitch.tv/BoldViking if you want to see more Pyanodons in live action. And we will be focusing on the manure facility because we do need to make a big manure facility to make all of the liquid manure, to make all of the urea, to make all of the melamine, to make all of the batteries, to make all of the construction bots. And we are so close to construction bots. Now, construction bots themselves, okay, we'll probably have to make a fish farm. Oh, they even need more fish oil. Good God. Yeah, we will probably have to pull some stuff in and make some creative belt choices, but you can already see we only get storage chests at the beginning. We don't even get passive provider chests, which I guess we get if we get to logistic bots, but those are one technology level deeper. But just having construction bots and having something to go around that picks up things and builds automatically for you is going to be such an amazing help. Also, batteries over here opens up the way for power plants. We get then to machine components. And machine components over here, these are the things that we need to make all of the advanced alternative energy buildings over here. We also get access to the electric boiler. I've heard terrible things about this thing. I will have to check it up. Oh yeah, it uses a metric ton of power. Wow, 25 megawatts of power. Oof, 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 oof. But this is also where we get into molten salt. We also get the salt mine over here. Oh, we couldn't even make that one yet. I was not aware of that. But to make the molten salt, we will be able to make the salt. And my big question is, can we already make salt? That will be a thing we have to figure out. Salt, craft. There's one way to make salt, and that's cooking up saline water. And, well, we might be in trouble over here. We get that a little bit later because we have not found a single salt mine on the map yet. Wait a minute, where's the map over here? We have not found a single salt mine on the map yet. We might just have to go exploring, or we might have to do something to fetch it. But if we can't make salt from rock salt or from salt saline water, then we will have to figure something out. But that will be a thing for tomorrow. That's going to be a thing for tomorrow. Nevertheless, that was the recap for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do want to see more of this, please do leave a like, a follow, a comment, a subscription. Every one of those actions does help me out in growing this YouTube channel to something bloody amazing. You can also find me on twitch.tv/BoldViking, where we do even more Factorio. Oh, what, really? Also, a whole bunch of Rimworld. GTFO is back for a bit. And we're playing some Valheim on the side as well. And without further ado, I wish you all an amazing evening. And until next time, see you around!